Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. We are lucky enough to be joined by two coaches. This is the first for me, which is great. We get two staff coaches on at the same time from William Smith College. Aliceann Wilber and Chaz Allen, thank you for joining me both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
You're welcome.
I'll let you guys duke it out as to who answers what questions, but it should be
We're
great
good at
to get to.
We duke a lot.
It'll be great to have both of you on. So, well, let's start. When do you guys usually start hearing from players? What year in school are they? When do you start actually going out and looking at players for your recruiting?
We're hearing from a few as freshmen, first years in high school. I would say definitely start hearing from some girls more so in their sophomore year. Moving into junior year is the big year, as you all know. So we don't have a lot of time to give due attention to eighth graders. Even freshmen in high school for what we're trying to manage is a shot.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. How many inbound contacts do you think you get in a week or a month?
Yeah, those cross your desk, Chaz. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think it varies, but I think probably, in any given month, you're getting 20, 25, contacts, some more, some less, depending on whether we're going to showcases or not. So we're heading out to 2 showcases this month. We're going to Penn Fusion down in Pennsylvania and Sousa in Long Island. So we've been getting more than usual because of that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I think generally the individuals we hear from are, they've done some research, so they've already targeted specific interest, be it school, location, soccer program. So not so much Wild West random.
No,
Right.
Well, that's good to hear, because a lot of coaches I talk to, I say, I ask them what do you like to hear in that first communication, and they talk about how that they don't want that just shotgun blast that obviously you haven't put any thought into.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned 2 tournaments. What are some of the other tournaments every year that you like to get to? Do you ever venture, to high school games, or are you looking mostly at club tournaments? Where do you like to go?
I used to do a lot with high school games, but that's the distant past.
Yeah.
For I think the most effective use of our time, it's tournaments and showcases, or getting perspectives here on campus to our clinics and camps. But Chaz, you can list off Vegas, etc.
Yeah, so we'll be heading to Vegas next month to the Players Cup. We sometimes go to Jeff Cup, Castle.
PDA
is one that we definitely go to, and we have also gone to Surf Cup, and it depends on the year and depends on our recruiting needs. We were also looking at some of the Florida events in January, so it just depends.
Well, that's of course that makes me happy, because I live 3 miles from the Premier Complex, so
right.
we get to go to all those as well, so that's always fun. So
no, we'll also, sorry Matt, we'll also go to some more local events in New York. Been to Mad Dogs, Empire, some of those kind of events, State Cup. So we'll look more closely at smaller events, particularly if there are individual players that we wanted to see. And as for Alessand's point, we'll certainly go to a high school game here or there if we haven't been able to see a player compete for club.
Yeah, or even a training session. I would say Florida, Matt, is a state that you know, we know there's a lot of good soccer in Florida, and our coordinate school, Hobart, has recently enrolled 2 or 3 really strong players from soccer from Florida. So, you know, that you all are definitely an area that we'd like to expand our connection with.
Yeah,
Well,
because we're. Go ahead, Matt.
no, I say, yeah, they just, well, because we can play year round, that we tend to be the host site for a lot of these new national leagues and tournaments. So,
Yeah.
I was just going to say you know, we're pretty cosmopolitan program. We have, you know, kids from West Coast, from the Northwest, from 3 or 4 players from Illinois and the Midwest. We're talking to some players from Texas, but Florida, you know, is an area that we haven't really had any traction. And, you know, obviously it's of interest to us, as Aliceann said, you know, and we also have
Yeah.
international players too. So there's no reason why not.
slightly different climates.
Well, I think that was going to be my comment. I think that there's this sort of myth out there about the challenge of the, you know, New York winters, but in the last number of years, the heaviest snowfall is on the coast. That's not us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Well, you
so-
mentioned, sorry, you
ahead.
mentioned ID camps, getting people on campus. So how do ID camps and maybe camps at other schools that you guys are part of, you know, how do camps kind of figure into your recruiting?
We love to have the opportunity to actually spend more than a half a day with kids that we're interested in, vice versa, are interested in us. So we run our own camp, generally very early July. So the perspectives get a real firsthand look of how we coach, what's our personality like, and we have more time with them. I would say in general, especially as the smaller camps go, we like it small, we like it personal. And you know, we want to actively coach. We're not just there to evaluate and assess talent, see if it catches, you know, our fancy or not. We want to send kids back to wherever they traveled from, having grown in concepts and ideas in the time they're with us. So I think those camps are important for us in our recruiting piece.
We want to give the kids an opportunity to understand and experience what it's like to be in a varsity training session. So they're experiencing that firsthand with our coaching staff. We run a spring ID type clinic. It's more of an open house. As Aliceann said, we're not in the business of hundreds of kids. It's 20, 25 kids that we're working with, that we can be personable with. We don't charge for our spring clinic. We don't charge for our fall clinic. We don't believe it should be something where we're making money. So it's very much concentrated and focused on that experience for the player, but also for us to really understand who the kids are.
Yeah, we just never really felt comfortable saying, "Oh, come pay so we can watch you play." Just doesn't sit right with who we are here, I think.
No, I think that's great. So when you're out at tournaments or you're at your clinics or anything, what are those characteristics, both on and off the field, that are your kind of top of the hierarchy of what you're looking for in a player?
Well, I love to see kids who can boss the game. I like to see, you know, what is their presence on the field? Is it a physical presence in terms of how they impact the game? Is it a leader kind of presence and how they impact the game? I think one reason we like to be live and not so reliant on highlight films is the highlight films don't show you when things are going wrong. So how do kids respond when the game's not going right, either for their team or for themselves or both? You know, I think that's soccer. It's not always going to go right, or if it is, you're not learning much. So, you know, that's a key quality that I'm very interested in, is what's that character? What's the problem solving, you know, component in each person? Ability to process the game in tight spaces in no time. Mobility, agility, game's fast now. So, you know, what you got to have vision, you got to have technical ability, and I think just experience, a lot of experience in more competitive situations, because that's where you're challenged more. What do you want to add there, Chaz?
I think you pretty much nailed it.
Well, good answer. Good answer. So, you know, obviously you guys are Division III, so there's no athletic money being handed out, but what is the overall kind of scholarship, financial aid situation for players at your school?
Well, like any D3 program, it's going to be based on the family's ability to contribute through the FAFSA or the CSS profile. We do have merit awards, which are not taking into consideration family needs. So for high achieving students, it's possible to win different levels of merit awards, even if they don't have established financial need. So I think we're strong in that sense. The average package that I thought was quoted somewhere is in the 40,000, I think. Somewhere between 32 to 42,000, I believe. You know, we're a more expensive school, but I would say the majority of the people we work with in terms of recruiting have financial need.
Yeah. Okay. Do you, so I have a, I guess a kind of a catch-all of the non-traditional recruit. How do transfers, walk-ons, and international students kind of all fit into your program?
Jazz, you can, I've been talking all the time, so you can answer that one.
That's usually my remit. Well, I mean, obviously, you know, we're looking to bring a transfer student in this year who is accepted. She's actually an international player. We have a couple of international players here, one from South Africa, one from Germany, and one from Holland. Our Spanish international player was National Player of the Year in 2019 when she, you know, we were in the final.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've got very strong tradition with international players, and we do like transfer students because, you know, they've had a college experience. They already understand what's expected of them, and so, you know, they're a little bit in advance, and you know, of a first year perhaps that's coming in. So we're very much open to any player that can help us.
Okay. Well, let's shift gears, talk more about the school itself. You know, like I said, I'm down here in Florida, so I don't know if there's many people around me that have ever heard of William Smith or aware of, you know, the school in upstate New York. So, but besides, you know, what I could find on the website, because, you know, that's easy to do. What are some of the things that are, you know, really awesome about your school that I'm not going to find just by clicking around the website?
Sure. Well, you have to visit the Finger Lakes to experience, I think, just the natural beauty of this area. It's very much wine country. So tons of wineries, breweries cropping up all over the place. That's for the parents, to get them willing to have this kind of trek to New York. But it's very much a tourist, becoming a huge wedding destination area now. I think we have a really special and unique history of, as William Smith College, of strong support for women, you know, starting before women ever had the right to vote, 1908. And so there is, I think, in my experience here, a lot of expectations for our William Smith students that they will become, by the time they have 4 years with us, they will be young women who are confident, have substance, have depth, and really very much in the leadership realm of wanting to be leaders, demonstrating the qualities that make them good leaders. And, you know, and I think that is very indicative of the experience for female students here. I think that we have really strong liberal arts basing, a lot of, I think, awareness and sensitivity to what's important for helping our students move from their undergraduate years into professional ranks, into graduate school, with a strong background in figuring out things. So a lot of emphasis on writing here that you need in just about any professional area of expertise, I think, to make things better for you, easier. We have very strong pre-med program. Our economics department has great track record of success in placing our students. Strong psych department. Architectural studies has a lot of, I think, firepower. And we've created, environmental studies, which that's a hot, pun intended, area right now. So that's a that's another really big area of study for us, because it incorporates a lot of the other disciplines on campus. Entrepreneurial studies is gaining some traction. That's a new one. And we have a couple master's programs as well.
Education as well. And I think the other couple of big areas on campus are our study abroad. I think we're one of the top programs in the country in placing students. Right. You know, 95% of our soccer players go overseas traditionally during the spring of their junior year, and our career services is very dynamic. We guarantee paid internships. It's something that students are encouraged to visit during their first year and continue that relationship during the time that they're here on campus. And just add, you know, physically what you'll see on campus. I mean, it's a beautiful campus, so we always want to get students here because we feel once you get them here, it's the wow factor. And it is a campus setting next to the lake, so you do get, you know, the campus is gorgeous. You know, we've got a very traditional quad with classic buildings nestled right next to Geneva, where students can walk into town and go out for dinner and obviously jump in the lake, go for a cycle along the lake, that kind of thing. So it's very attractive in that sense.
Yeah. How do you talk about some great academic programs? How do your students specifically balance the soccer part with the academic part?
They have to be very good managers of time. I think we tend to have really strong students in our program, so that they come to us for the most part having a good background in time management. You know, we give them a calendar at the very beginning of preseason with every practice time, departure time, team meeting time, team meal time for the season. So then when they go to their first week of classes and they get their syllabus, they can check against our calendar and have these very early conversations with faculty where there's a conflict. So we're very preemptive, I think, in heading off conflict by encouraging a lot of early conversation and resolution in that way. You know, if kids have a lab, let's say, that runs late and interferes with practice time, the policy on campus is the athletes will finish their class and come to practice as soon as they're done. Often, to help, I think, make best use of our time, we might back the practice start time up a little bit on heavy lab days, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But we take our program very seriously in terms of, what we're hoping to accomplish both for, regional, national conference results and what we hope to accomplish day to day in training. So kids have to be good, and I think very committed to both academic success and success in the soccer program.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are always, a top program in Division III, always, highly ranked. So besides your conference schedule, what would be a typical distance traveled for away games and things like that? Are you playing a national schedule, or are you kind of trying to keep it somewhat regional based? Are kids missing a lot of class time for games, et cetera?
The earliest part of the season, like generally every other year, we like to go to a tournament out of region. I think take COVID years outside. So this past season, we all pulled in, many of us, because we weren't sure about COVID. In 2019, we flew to Texas to open our season. Most of our kids had never been to Texas, so that was a great experience for them. We bussed out to Chicago for a tournament. These are like every other year occasions where we like to get out to other regions, have our kids experience something other than the New York regional play, whether it's conference or out of conference in New York. And we do have our out of conference New York opponents, because there's some very good programs not far from here that can make our travel commitments more concise. So it's a balance like that, but we definitely have an eye towards what's a strong national level schedule that's going to hold up when NCAAs are selected.
No, that makes sense.
You need that experience too, to play against top teams, so that they understand when you get to the sharp end of the season, what's expected.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what support mechanisms does your school have, both either academic and or athletic, to help players, while they're in school?
Yes, we have a very active, I would say, academic support system. The first line that we always counsel our kids to tap into is the faculty themselves. So we don't have graduate assistants teaching our undergrads, it's actual full professors. So that's the first line. Then we have our CTL, Center for Teaching and Learning, and we will connect some of our students, or maybe just trying to get a feel that first fall of college, what it takes to be successful. So working with the people in CTL, and certainly any of our kids who have any kind of learning disability, immediately connected with CTL people. We also have teaching fellows program, and these are students who have excelled, not first years, rarely sophomores, juniors and seniors a lot, who are teaching fellows who work, their hours are typically like 7 to 10 p.m. at night, and students can come in for extra help and tutoring from them. So our deans are very active working with our students. As every institution, I think, in this day and age now, like, you can never have enough people in the counseling center, right? But we have counselors assigned to teams as their kind of immediate go-to if we have people that need that. And then, Chaz, why don't you talk about our support in athletic training and strength and conditioning?
Yeah, so we have obviously athletic trainers that cater to any student needs. We have an excellent strength and conditioning program and staff that works very closely with the students individually, but also as a group. So, during the fall, they're working on strength and development, and then in the spring, and then in the fall, it's more about recovery and so on.
Yeah.
And maintenance. And then also within the William Smith Athletics, we have a leadership program called Peak Performance that runs in conjunction throughout the year, that has leadership programs as well as programs for all athletes. So, again, that's catered. Our strength and conditioning options and facilities are available just to student athletes, and then there's a separate facility available for the students, so they get their own setup, if you like.
Okay. What does, you kind of mentioned it a little bit with in case there's a lab and practice moving back, so it sounds like you practice in the afternoon, but what would a typical practice day during the season look like for a player from when they wake up to when they go to bed?
Yeah, for the most part, we like to run our practices in the afternoon, so we keep our athletes on a consistent schedule routine. Sometimes that's not always the option. If like we're grass game facility, we're a grass training field, we have access to turf, so if we have to accommodate other teams in their training hours on turf, that can get a little bit disrupted depending on their game schedule. But I would say most of the kids front end their class schedule so that they're able to get to the practice field or do any kind of athletic training treatments that they need ahead of practice. That opens up for them about an hour before our training time. We like to start practice at 4:30 if we can. But having said that, it's also a requirement in our program that our student athletes have warmed themselves up conscientiously and intentionally. So that starts about 20 minutes before 4:30. So at 4:30, that's coaching time, and we will go generally till 6:30, sometimes before games or tough weeks, midterms, prior to nationals, we might streamline that down to 90 minutes instead of the full 2 hours. But, and then it's incumbent on them if they need post-training treatments to add that on to their day. So it can be, 3 hours, I would say, on a normal day that probably is taken up by soccer.
And that's 6 days a week, if including a game during the season, if we with 1 day off. And just to add, Matt, about the facilities, Aliceann mentioned that we play on grass, so we have our own grass practice field. Our game field we share with Hobart, and we also have the stadium turf to train on, and we're very fortunate, and one of very few programs to have the benefit of a full indoor field in our dome. So
Nice.
that allows us to train during inclement weather.
Oh, that's great. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the team and the soccer side of things. So, I noticed you guys do have a development team. So how many overall players would you say you guys carry between the two squads?
This year we were about 50 strong.
Wow.
So yeah, so we're managing a lot. I think our own as coaches, we have, pretty established and strong feelings about the benefits of an athletic experience in college. And so, you know, we're willing to undertake the added work of management and logistics, and a lot of logistics and a lot of management to deal with that many kids. But it doesn't matter to me if they're on our development team, our varsity team, if they're 4 years in the program and great citizens of the program. We're going to promote them for every kind of opportunity after school. So whether it's GAs or campus recognition, it doesn't matter. They're in our program, and everybody's, you know, we want success for everybody following.
Well, with a large number like that, do you have a set number of players you're trying to bring in every season from a recruiting aspect, or is it just kind of ebb and flow with how many are graduating?
I think there's ebbs and flows, Matt. You know, and recruiting's generally on a cycle, and you know, maybe you'll have a bigger class one year and a smaller class the next. This coming year, we're looking at a very small class. You know, we had a bigger class over the last couple of years with COVID and kids returning for a 5th year and some admissions needs and that kind of thing. But generally, I would say it's more cyclical.
Yeah, on the development team, and there's not many Division III programs that have this kind of operation, but that serves a lot of purposes for different kids on campus. Some people are happy to be on the development team for all 4 years. They want the structure and I think the competitive fun of a college athletic experience, but they don't want the time commitment that the varsity program entails. So it works fine for them. We're happy to have them with the development team for 4 years. Other kids, you know, maybe want that connection to start school with, being with a team, so they have a social group niche already. You know, the power of that, which I get it. But as their interests evolve in their time here, maybe it stays with soccer, maybe it doesn't. So that's a program that is auxiliary in some ways, intentional for those kids who maybe just need a little bit more time with us to sink into our training style, our competitive necessities, requirements. And so, you know, every year is different, I would say.
What if I'm a freshman, am I going straight to the development team, or am I competing for starting minutes, or how does that work?
That's a good question. I think, and one that a lot of people have when they go, there's a development team, what does that mean for me?
Mm-hmm.
But no, we're very pragmatic about success here. And so if kids can come in as first years and they affect the game more powerfully or impact it in a stronger way than somebody who's a senior, they're going to start, they're going to play a lot. Just show us, basically. That's what we say, show us, and we'll be responsive to that.
Yeah, and I think we're very much, you know, to run the program in the way that we do, to, you know, to motivate the players. They understand that, you know, they need to prove themselves every year. There's no pension plan, as we always say. You know, if you made varsity one year, it's not like high school. You have to come in and show us every year. So, you know, there's every opportunity. We've been to Final Four with 6 first years starting on the team. So, you know, again, some kids adapt and very quickly, and some struggle. But I think the nice thing is here is you're not going to get cut. You're going to come in, and even if, you know, you've had an injury or it takes you a season to get on board, you know, we've had players come through the development program that have actually been Liberty League Player of the Year by their senior year. So, you know, I think within the program itself, I think development is huge. I think we love the spring. That's a really important time for us and developing our players. We don't like midweek games. We like to train. We like to develop players, and we feel that, you know, we do a really good job of that.
Well, perfect segue, it is the off season. So what does your typical off season program look like?
We're busy. We have a lot of expectations in the program, and a really, I think, strong team culture that supports the execution of the expectations that we have, because we can't be a consistent national contender with a drop in, drop out sort of thing. And I tell our kids, like, you're not really an athlete if you're only part-time, like not in my dictionary anyway. So there's an overall eye on an annual training program. Certainly, time for recovery, regeneration, that coincides with the season ending into the winter break. And we have to stay within the confines of NCAA rules, which we do, but we have like opportunities for kids. With the indoor soccer class right now, it's open to anybody in the school. We meet 3 times a week. I have 58 kids registered in that class. And so it's about half and half co-ed. And so it has a different feel. A lot of our girls, if they don't have class at that time, come and participate. But I think it's social in the sense that it is guys and girls. It's a different feel from what they normally get. And we teach in it. We also, and that's in our dome, so we're lucky we have that nice facility in New York in the winter. We also have expectations that our kids are doing consistent, weekly, by 3 to 4 times a week, individual training sessions with each other, intentional, highly focused, and not just go out and kick the ball around and say that was an individual session. They will choose to work hard with the strength coaches, because this is big time for growth. So this semester, we really look at here as growth time. We are focused much on the team growth in the fall semester, and a lot of individual growth in the spring semester.
We'll also incorporate during one of those sessions a week is futsal, which we're very lucky enough. One of our coaches is Junior Wilson, who we met when we traveled to Brazil about 10 years ago. He was on the Brazilian national staff and played professionally in Europe, and he's an expert on futsal. So we feel that our players benefit from, developing their futsal skills. And the other point again, Matt, is that our seniors are focused on their academics this in the spring. Our juniors are abroad, so this is the opportunity for sophomores and first years to really develop.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Well, you guys have been fantastic, very generous with your time. I appreciate that. So I'll leave you with one last question, kind of the catch-all. What else would you like folks to know about your school, your program, or anything that we didn't get a chance to cover?
We have, I think, something that's very unique, probably because my longevity is a little bit unique, but our alumni group, we call it our Heron Nation, that is a very spirited, loyal, committed group, and it really fun. So we maintain a ton of traditions in this program, and I think traditions are what binds peoples together, families, cultures. And so our Heron Soccer Nation, we are doing the same walkout song that a team chose in the mid-90s, and we still walk out to that. So that's just one example, but I think for our alums to see that the current players are still doing some of the same things they were, it just makes us this really strong, fervent family. We say the work we do today honors the work of those who came before us. And There's a real awareness of legacy here, I think.
Mhm.
So, and I think it makes it easy for kids when they finish their time as a current player and their 4 years are up, they feel very welcome and instantly a part of the alum basis. So they don't feel quite as disconnected, I think, as otherwise might be possible.
I'll just add again to, you know, any player or family that's you know, looking at a college, a liberal arts college in the Northeast. I think that, you know, as Aliceann said, we provide a program with storied tradition that's family orientated. You know, I think we're a coaching staff that's really committed to who the player is as a person. We like good character. I think character is the bookends of the program. And so we work really hard at developing really good citizens, both on and off the field. And I think you're going to come to a very dynamic academic institution with a soccer program that challenges for national honors every year. So it's a pretty intoxicating mix, we think.
That definitely sounds like it from my end as well. I appreciate your time and being willing to talk about your program, and congratulations on all the success this past season. And I'm wishing you nothing but the best for the next fall, and we'll keep track and see how you guys are doing. All right.
We appreciate
you,
the
Matt.
opportunity, Matt. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate it.